What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be working on making a rear seat delete slash firewall for the S13, and we are also going to be prepping the entire interior for paint. And that being said, I know this is a little confusing for you guys. You might think, Chris, didn't you just send it off to paint? Like, what do you mean prep the car for paint? Well, the car is back, it's painted, but you can see some stuff aren't, and let me explain to you guys and show you guys exactly what I mean by I'm going to prep it for paint when we just dropped it off and it's back and now it's sanded again. Okay, so I'm not going to get too into detail with it. Long story short, there was a few complications that would happen when we were trying to paint it, and I ended up having to take it back so I can do some prep work here that I needed to do. Strut towers back down to metal, as you can see. Interior, the whole front half sanded back down, scuffed up. We are going to scuff up this whole rear end. There's the firewall template that I'm going to explain to you guys in a little bit. And the trunk actually came out really well. It's kind of hard to tell, and it's a little dirty with all this stuff that I was working back here yesterday. But if you see the color, it's actually like a navy blue with a bunch of pearl, and this thing looks great. I kind of suggested a color, and he picked this one out and told me if I liked it, and I loved it, so we ended up going with it. But like I said, we had a few complications. Long story short, trunk looks great, so we're not going to redo that. But I am going to scuff up this whole, the front half is done, scuff up the whole rear end. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and make this firewall and bolt it in. That way, we can block off the trunk air from anything getting any overspray. You can see it's all taped up. Once we get the firewall made and bolted in there, nothing can get into the trunk area. So, yeah. So it's kind of unfortunate that we had the issue and all these complications, but it's not the end of the world. We can redo it. So we're gonna go ahead and go to M&K Steel or whatever they're called. Pick up ourselves some metal so we can make the firewall. And once that's bolted on, we can work on scuffing up the whole rear end of it and get it ready to send it back over to Ricky, because Ricky's gonna go ahead and paint it again. So let's go ahead and head over to M&K and get started. Alright, so we are here at M&K Metals. We're just looking around in the scrap section. This is the section where it's all the leftover pieces. If they cut specific things and they have pieces that they don't need, they throw it in here. So let's go ahead and find a piece that fits our needs in as far as sizing wise goes, and we got a tape measure so we can double check, and we'll get on home, or to Lowe's I should say. So I think we found our piece here. It is about 56.5 by 24, so 2 feet, and we should have more than enough to use to cut out of this. So let's go ahead and get this and get over there. All right, guys, we're back home. We had to go to Lowe's to get this blue metallic paint that I'm gonna use to spray the backside of the firewall when we're done, or the rear seat delete. And we also got Scotch-Brite pads while we're there. We also got the high build filler primer for the engine bay and some spots in the interior that we need to put a little bit of a thicker build on it for the prep work. So now that we got our primer and our steel here, as you can see, you guys saw just a second ago, to make the rear seat delete slash firewall type thing, let's go ahead and I think I want to start off by let's cut out the rear seat delete, and then we can move on from there, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get to cutting. So we're just gonna start by taking off our cardboard template that we made. Then from here, we can lay it on top of our steel and cut the shape out. So let's just get on with it. Well, there you go. Our basic shape is all cut out now. Alright, so we got the basic shape cut out. As you can see, it's still really rough around the edge. Well, all the corners are good except for this edge itself because it's a really tight turn. So I'm gonna go ahead and get our grinder wheel and grind all this away. That way we can have a nice round area. But this is a lot wider than how it really is inside. We're gonna end up cutting it right down the middle and then slotting it in, because if you take a look back here, there's no real way to get it in because of the cage in one piece. So that's why we made the templates in 2 different pieces. That way we can slide one side in and then slide the other side in, and they'll just meet in the middle. So let's go ahead and grind that away and show you guys the finished product. All right, so now you get a better look on what I meant why I had to cut it in half, so we can slide it through that way. That's why that whole notch is out there as well as right there. It's the best way I thought about doing it without having too big of a hole. Instead of, I could have done one piece that slides in over the top and one piece that slides into the bottom. But the issue with that is when the window's in, there's gonna be kind of no way to get it in or out without it being such a hassle. So down the middle, cut in half with the slit there is the best we can do. As you can see, we have the 2 pieces here. We're gonna bolt it in right there in the middle, one right here in the middle, as well as a few on the sides and the corners here. And with it bolted in, we now have a rear firewall / rear seat delete, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and get some holes drilled into it. And we're just gonna use self tappers for now. But once our riv nuts come into the mail, we're gonna go ahead and stick some riv nuts in here. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, there you go. Our rear seat lid is officially made. All nice and notched there for the cage. Fits right up against a little firewall area, I guess you can say. But yeah, fits nice and tight. There's a room for the cage right there, so it's not rubbing up against it. And it's screwed there, and the corners, and that corner, and that corner. It's self-tappers for now. We are gonna replace them out with riv nuts and bolts later on. But now that this is officially made, let's go ahead and take it back out, because we're gonna go ahead and spray it. So we got our driver's side part of the firewall all cleaned up and ready for paint. Just shaking up the can. My arm hurts. We gotta do this for 3 more minutes, right? Right, Chuck? 3 minutes. Let's go. Up. This one is drying. We sprayed the primer on. So once this dries, or while I let that dry I should say, I'm gonna go ahead and have our leaf blower, air blower, whatever you want to call it, and blow off all the dust off of here. That way we can see what else we need to sand, because it's a lot of layers of dust everywhere. So yeah. Alright, I don't know how much of that you guys can see, but that was a mess. Dust went everywhere. Never want to do it in the garage again. I usually do it out here, but I don't know where the keys are to this car, so we're stuck in the garage today. But yeah, let's go ahead and scuff her up and get a couple things prepped, and I'll see you guys when we're done. I'm not too sure where I left you guys off. I think it was me sanding this down and then spraying some primer on it. As you can see, we're back here with no primer on it. I had to take all of it off because it was my fault. I laid it on way too thick and it started to crinkle up. And right now it's pretty cold out, so it's not the best painting conditions. So, but as you see, we got this part scuffed up and sanded down because he had issues with that where paint didn't stick. probably just because it wasn't cleaned properly when painting. We got all this down and smoothened out. That way, once we spray this, it's gonna have a nice smooth transition. You're not gonna see the hard difference between the bare metal and where the paint used to be. I'll show you guys a picture of it right now. That is the main reason why I decided to redo this whole thing pretty much, because none of it was sanded, none of it was prepped, and I really hated it, to be honest with you. So now we're redoing everything, doing twice the work, but whatever. We got that cleaned off as well, because that was chipping, bubbling paint and was just painted over. So yeah, now that we got all this cleaned up and back down to the bare metal, we're gonna go ahead and spray some primer on it and go ahead and apply it. We'll see what we're gonna do, if we can scuff up the rear end or not. But going out here, kind of looks like shit. You can see all the tiger stripes, but it's a blue. You can kind of see it's like a blue metallic-y color. I don't really care how good this looks. I kind of just chose this color because this is the back side of the Firewall, the side that you're gonna see in the trunk, which you're not gonna see anyways. Like, you'll see it if you look, but if you open the trunk here, you can tell that it's gonna be way down there. You're not gonna really see the quality of it. As long as it's generally the same color, it's all right to me. So yeah, that's why we're painting that side of it like that, metallic spray paint blue. All right guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. I'm sorry if this video was a little sporadic as far as content and as far as what we were doing. I don't even know if it's long enough to be a full video, but we'll see. I'm just kind of upset. There's so much work, extra work that I'm doing right now that I shouldn't have to do, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm just lucky enough that he's willing to take the car back and fix all of his mistakes. It is kind of upsetting. It's a lot more extra work for me. It set, honestly, having to redo all of this set me back probably a month or two, because now I have to take all this time and spend this extra money to prep the car, prep the whole inside, and then send it back to him. And who knows how long it's going to take for him to do it. I want to tell him to take his time, because I don't want to get it back again a second time and with still a bunch of things wrong. So sorry guys, I'm super upset, and just it's been a crazy day with trying to get this cage prepped and sanded and primered and all the spots that were messed up. But that being said, thank you guys for watching. I apologize for my attitude. But peace out guys. See you guys in the next one.